It seems fitting that the Pacers bookended this game with some of the more suboptimal basketball playing you'll see on an NBA court all year long. We could give them a pass in the very beginning for being nervous, considering no one on the team has any experience this deep in the playoffs, as they missed their first 5 shots, 3 of them layups, and slamming a 5-footer off the backboard without hitting any rim. And the turnovers definitely revealed a team dealing with butterflies in their stomachs and motor oil on their hands, as they made it seem like the ball was some sort of shape other than round. And the Celtics were more than happy to take advantage to the tune of a 12-0 start. However, from this point until 2 minutes left in the fourth, the Pacers clearly got all of that out of their system by outscoring the Celtics by a whopping 15 points, including a scorching 60.5% from the field, leading to this moment where Derek White doesn't realize Tyrese Haliburton is closing in on him from behind and knocks his 3-point shot away. Let's look at the situation. You're up by 3 with the ball, and there are only 70 ticks on the clock left. The last thing you want to do is take a quick shot and let Boston get the ball back sooner than necessary. So what does Haliburton do? He takes a full-speed sidestep 3, Horford right on him, with 14 seconds still on the shot clock. First off, he travels on this shot. As you can see, he ends his dribble here with the left foot down as his gather step. The next step is the pivot foot, which he promptly lifts off the floor legally, but then illegally places it back down before he shoots it. And it directly leads to this Siakam clamping of Brown's arm first, before Brown grabs Siakam's jersey, allowing the one thing you cannot do in this scenario: let Boston score points without the clock running. But it gets worse, a lot worse. Still up 3 with even less time left, all Indiana has to do is play solid defense, don't give up anything open, and hit some free throws. Instead, Aaron Nesmith goes for the steal in the middle of the court. No one is there to back him up, and they let Jason Tatum, of all people, get a completely wide open 3 to tie it. While they're pretty lucky he couldn't make this shot, we see Nembhard fall down and almost turn it over. The NBA does allow you to fall to the floor with the ball so long as you don't, quote, gain an advantage, but I simply cannot believe what Haliburton does here. Again, why is he in a hurry? The clock is your friend. Milk it down to 15 seconds and take a shot. Instead, he does this.
I dribbled off my foot in transition.
Wait, what? He thought he dribbled it off his foot? I think he meant he kneed the ball towards the sideline in a display of dribbling clumsiness I haven't seen from a professional ball handler in a long time, maybe ever. And why didn't Nesmith try to save it right back to Haliburton? Instead, he sacrifices himself to save the team by diving on the grenade, and now the Celtics get the ball back. And yet, they're still in a great position with 10 seconds left when Hallie gets fouled, but the Celtics had a foul to give, so the Pacers have to inbound it. The basketball gods gave the Pacers a break with a pseudo timeout to take care of some blood on Nembhard's face. You can see Carlisle call the team over to quickly draw up a play, and I get it. He wanted to save his last timeout just in case they couldn't get the ball in bounds, rather than take it and advance the ball to half court. And I'm sure there's an argument for how Carlisle drew this up, but I'm never a fan of taking a potential receiver completely out of the play like they did with Turner, who you can't even see on the screen because he's way deep in the front court. This all gets worse because they lined up in a weird formation, and the only thing he drew up was for Hallie to screen for Nesmith and then open up for the ball. But since they're so deep in the backcourt, of course Nembhard's man is going to take that away, no matter that Haliburton never got close to screening and Nesmith cut too early. Now, the only outlet was for Siakam to just run to the ball. Instead, he runs to the baseline, which is a huge mistake because it allows Brown to put a lot of pressure on the catch. If you're wondering why there wasn't a foul on Brown here, you can see from this angle that he doesn't really extend his bent left arm touching Siakam's back. And once the ball is knocked away, any type of contact here would be ruled incidental or marginal. On top of that, it looks like Siakam doesn't quite try and grab the ball out of the air. It goes out of bounds, and it sets us up for an incredible high point in the Celtics season and the lowest of the low point for the Pacers. Before we get to the incredible finish of regulation, I wanted to point out 2 key turnovers in overtime that indicated to me that both Haliburton and Siakam were not interested in taking care of their balls, and it wouldn't have cost them the game had they used Manscaped. With their new Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, it has everything you need to look and feel as good as Al Horford does, since I'm sure his veteran savvy keeps it well groomed down there. If you want to get your balls into the basket, they've got to be well kept, and their dual skin safe blade heads provide an unparalleled level of trimming from the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. While the trimmer blade features longer, wider, and rounded teeth that cuts through hair with ease, it's incredibly gentle on the skin. But here comes the real showstopper, the foil blade. Crafted to transcend the boundaries of your typical trim with the trimmer blade, this foil blade is designed to leave you with a finish that's irresistibly sleek and utterly bare. I love the bigger LED light that illuminates the hard-to-reach areas so they're ready for their close-up. The rechargeable weed whacker means you'll never have to leave the house with ear or nose hair sticking out, and because it's waterproof, cleaning is easy. Right now, with my code BBALL, I can get you 20% off your order and 2 free gifts. Some of the most comfortable boxers I've ever worn, and a travel bag to keep all your Manscaped products safe and handy. And I'm sure that manscaping directly helped Joe Mazzulla draw up this beauty of a set. One of my rules is, if you want to get a shooter open, have him set a screen first. This is because the defense tends to get preoccupied with the cutter and lose the screener. But Mazzulla one-ups this by having the cutter turn around and then set another screen. While this catches Siakam on the high side of Brown heading to the corner, this should never have even mattered. Why doesn't TJ McConnell just switch this? You don't care about giving up a 2-point shot, and with Haliburton in good position under the hoop, he could conceivably take away any passes for layups. And rather than chasing Brown on the outside in order to stay completely connected, Siakam runs right into the screen, putting him 2 steps behind.
Was there instruction to foul before that Brown 3, even though there wasn't really a chance to do so?
Yes, but he caught the ball and he was face up, so Pascal decided to lay off, which was, I understand, that's probably the right decision. You don't want to give up a 4-point play.
I was glad to see Carlisle say he wanted to take the foul before the shot, put the Celtics on the line, and eliminate the possibility of a 3-point shot. But if that was the case, it looks to me like Siakam didn't play with that directive because he could have taken the foul right here, when Brown rips through to his right hip. Instead, he gets caught so close that his face actually contacts Brown's left arm, and give credit to Brown for nailing a tough shot, made slightly easier because Siakam doesn't even get a hand up. And we've seen the Pacers screw this up already in the playoffs, so the Pacers and Carlisle are running out of excuses for why they can't seem to execute this strategy properly. Which makes me wonder further, why do the Pacers have such a bad team defense when they've got a bunch of decent to good defenders on their team like Siakam, Nembhard, Nesmith, Turner, and McConnell? Strategically, there is one issue I noticed, and so have the Celtics, since they ruthlessly attacked it in the half court over and over again. The inside ball screen with an empty strong side corner is a particularly difficult action to guard if you allow the ball handler to use the screen back to the middle. If you're not going to ice this and force the ball handler away from the screen to the baseline while the ball screener's man drops towards the block, then you had better switch it, or else there is no one to rotate and contest the pick and pop from Horford. Because the strong side corner is empty, what would normally be help on the pocket pass isn't there, and the Pacers clearly have no intention of ever icing this, so the Celtics are exploiting it big time. You can see how devastating it is to the defense when you allow the ball handler to turn the corner. Many teams would never let Brown go this direction, but major rotations must happen now, opening up easy passes to wide open shooters, or giving up layups at the rim point blank. They're so eager to set these on Haliburton that you can see Drew offer the opportunity to Tatum before heading over there. They try to switch this, but Nembhard takes a step back first, then overcompensates by jumping past White. 3 defenders rotate to the ball in the lane. Siakam should be closing out but doesn't want to leave Brown, and Horford buries an absolutely crucial triple. They continue to run this over and over, knowing the Pacers were going to let them into the middle, and Haliburton struggles mightily to keep his man from getting right into the paint whenever he wants to. Nesmith falls asleep on his turn, and Tatum gets another wide open 3 that he just misses. Basically the same idea when White hands off to Brown coming out of the corner. Haliburton initially plays good defense to level Brown off at the elbow, but he's powerless against the fake spin move and lets Brown dribble right to the basket for an easy lefty layup. Even with the strong side filled and extra defender to help rotate, the Pacers continue to screw this up. These open shots could be reduced significantly if they just stop allowing the ball handler to use the screen, as Siakam again won't rotate off of Brown to take their chances with the wide open Horford. And they don't switch properly on this inside ball screen, with Nesmith so late to get up there. Jrue Holiday has a wide open three he just can't knock down. Aside from his fundamental flaw that is giving up tremendously high quality shots over and over, there is one player we can point to that is basically killing them on this end of the floor: Tyrese Haliburton. I want to point out two of his best defensive plays first, because he can be a defensive playmaker with his high basketball IQ, reading the balance of the floor and quickly snatching this pass that had surefire 2 points written all over it. And this excellent effort to take advantage of bad footwork and balance by Jaylen Brown to turn this into a layup. And a quick comment on this no call. This can happen sometimes when players are in the way of a clear view of the referees. In this case, the lead and the slot were both shielded from seeing the obvious foul, and they're trained to only call what they see, not what they assume. As for the huge free throw disparity, this game was called fine. The reason why the difference is so large is that the Celtics led the league in fewest opponents' free throw attempts, while the Pacers ranked dead last in attempting their own free throws. Add to that, the Celtics were second only to the Lakers in fewest fouls committed per game, while the Pacers were again last in the league, fouling more than anyone. Getting back to Hallie, there's a reason his defensive rating on-off was so bad in Game 1. He screws up this switch onto Tatum, chasing around the wrong side as Tatum gets right to the basket to allow the one thing a playoff team should never allow: a layup off a baseline out of bounds play. Jrue Holiday in particular relished each possession he found Haliburton guarding him, just commanding immediate low position for an easy bucket in transition. This one was a doozy, as Jrue gives him the slightest grab of the outstretched arm, all because Haliburton was not in a good defensive stance, basically taking some time to celebrate just one day out of life. It would be so nice. Brown got into the act, isolating on Haliburton, who lets him get to the block, forcing help to rotate down to the ball. The problem is, it's one pass away off a shooter, and Nesmith doesn't seem interested in rotating off of Tatum, but they dodge a bullet. Holiday won't let go of the rock with Haliburton on him, clearing out the side to go to work. While there is some semblance of support from his teammates, they're essentially leaving him alone, and he has no choice but to foul. As a coach, when you see a player continually allowing penetration right into the lane, you've got to devise something better to help him out. But with all the rotations happening, it's no surprise they're finding layups out of this, and lucky they don't give up another score here. While Siakam might feel like he needs to do something to help out his teammate, it's not his rotation from that side of the court, precisely because it leaves his man wide open from one pass away, the easiest and highest percentage three an offense can generate. Rather, it should be Toppin helping from the weak side, so the Pacers could at least have a chance at rotating and getting a hand up. This could easily go down as the Pacers' best chance to win a game, and that the Celtics will buckle down and take care of business in Game 2 when Indiana comes out shell-shocked from this giveaway loss in Game 1. But the Pacers did expose some real issues with the Celtics as well, so if Haliburton can absorb this new level of experience quickly, and Carlisle can somehow squeeze some better execution on the defensive end, we could have a long series on our hands.